This is a nurturing yoga practice for those days when all you want to do is curl up in a ball. And we'll be doing a fair amount of that today and calling it yoga. For this practice, you will need a few cozy things. You'll need a blanket. And if you have a yoga bolster, that would be great, but cushions off your couch will work just as well. You just need things to prop you up and kind of make you feel nurtured, which we'll use a little later in the class. You can practice on your lounge room rug, or if you have a yoga mat, that's fine too. So wherever you're going to practice, lie down on your back. And have your knees bent up to the ceiling, feet on the floor, feet lined up more or less with your hip bones. And an easy way to tell whether you're more or less in the right place is if your knees are tracking towards each other, your feet are probably a touch too far apart for this exercise. If your knees are opening out, perhaps your feet are a little too close together. You want your feet just lined up parallel, fairly close to your butt, not too close, and you're just going to lie there and breathe. Feel the pressure through the back of your head into the floor, through your upper back. Maybe allow your neck to relax because you're being supported by your head and your upper back, so your neck doesn't need to be tense. Breathing in and out through your nose, and just let your breath be soft. You don't have to do anything with it in this practice, just breathe and be deliberate with when you breathe. Good. Maybe you'll feel your pelvis settling into the floor a little. Maybe you'll feel a bit of ease in your lower back. You're not trying to push it into the ground. You're not trying to do anything with it. You're just allowing the primary curves of your spine, your pelvis, or the bottom part of your pelvis, your upper back and your head to support you. We'll spend a few more breaths here. The idea is to passively release your nervous system. This pose, called constructive rest pose, also allows your psoas muscles, those muscles in your deep front line, to relax, and they have an impact on peristalsis, on digestion. So when they're really tight, it can lead to problems with digestion, and given we're doing nurturing yoga, you don't want to be having trouble processing your nourishment. Keep breathing. Good. On your next exhale, bend your knees into 90 degrees with your body. So you've got a 90-degree angle at your hip and a 90-degree angle at your knee. Then one hand on each kneecap. Have an inhale here. And as you exhale, keeping your big toes touching, draw your knees as wide apart as they'll go and as close into your waist. And maybe your elbows will bend to touch the ground. They may not. Inhale, push your legs to the start position. This time as you exhale, you can keep your big toes touching and your knees more or less together and draw them as close into your chest as you can. Inhale, legs to the start position. Exhale, big toes touch, knees go wide, maybe elbows toward the ground. Inhale to the start position. Exhale, knees narrow, bringing them in toward your chest. Hands still on your kneecaps. Inhale to the start position. Exhale, knees wide. Good. Inhale to the start position. Last one like this. Exhale, knees narrow, bring them in toward your chest. Inhale to the start position. Now this time, exhale, big toes touch, knees go wide. Maybe your elbows soften toward the ground, but don't pop your ribs up or something to make that happen. And you're just going to lie there and breathe. If you would like to, you keep your hands on your kneecaps, but some people like to reach between their legs and just hold on to their ankles. Just allow your inner thighs to soften, allow your low back to relax. Breathe. It's meant to be really soft, really nurturing. Good. Keep breathing in and out through your nose unless you really need to breathe through your mouth. Very nice. Exhale, gently release your legs to the ground. Feet come fairly close to your butt again. Knees up to the ceiling, and again line your feet up with your hips. Rest your hands next to your hips, shoulders relaxed. Now press your feet into the ground and imagine you're reversing your heels towards your butt. You're not actually moving them, you're just reversing them so that the muscles in the back of your body switch on. And using several breaths if you need to. So start with an inhale. You're going to curl first your pelvis up off the ground, then your lower back, and then maybe your upper backs, just kind of up toward the shoulder blades, not higher. And then with as many breaths as you need coming down in the same way, make sure you do breathe. First, vertebra by vertebra, that upper part of your back, then your lower back, and then you release your pelvis. So you only get the curve of your low back into neutral again at the end of the movement. Again, starting with an inhale, curling up your pelvis, and then vertebra by vertebra, your low back, and then your middle back, just up to about where your shoulder blades are, no higher. And then as you exhale, curling the top part down. Then your lower back, one vertebra at a time. And then your pelvis. And imagine even that the 3 bones down at the bottom there, which are fused. But imagine they're not, and you can just go bit by bit. That's it, lovely. Do that one more time. Curling up, bit by bit, as smoothly as possible, sinuously. And then curling down, use your breath. Great. Starting with an inhale, last time. Curling up, pelvis, low back, middle back, and stay. Press into your feet, allow the back of your body to hold you up, so you're kind of reversing those heels towards your butt. Neck is soft. If it's not, just drop your hips a little, curl yourself down a little, or all the way down perhaps. Keep breathing. And the point of this is just to stretch again those muscles in the front line of our bodies. The word nurturing comes from the French word nourriture, food, and it comes from the same root as the word nourishment. So really what we're doing here is working to some extent with our ability to digest our physical food, which is of course a nurturing thing. Very nice. And on your next exhale, start that wave down toward the ground. First your upper back, then your lower back, then your pelvis. And once your pelvis is on the ground, exhale to gather your knees into your chest and give yourself a hug. And you can hug your arms around your shins if you'd like to. And just kind of start to rock around on your sacrum a little, on the flat part at the back of your pelvis. Make sure you are still breathing. You're not kind of forcing anything, but you do want to feel like you're comfortably breathing and your neck is soft. So roll a few times, making circles in the one direction, and then go the other way. You're not trying to flatten your lower back or lift your sacrum. You do want it on the ground. Good. And then bring yourself to center. Have an inhale, and as you exhale, roll all the way over onto your left side. So you're lying in the fetal position on your left side. Inhale, come back to center. And exhale, roll over to your right side. So you're in the fetal position on your right side now. Good. Inhale to center. Exhale to your left. Inhale to center. Exhale to your right. Inhale to center. Now exhale to your left and stay. So you're resting in the fetal position. Find a comfortable way to put your head down, and then stretch both arms long away from you. So if you can stretch that right arm a little further so that your right fingertips creep further away from you than your left. Have an inhale and start to sweep your right hand up toward the ceiling. That might be enough if you're feeling fairly okay in your chest, in your midsection. As you exhale, allow your upper body to twist so that you're bringing your right arm towards the floor on your right side. So your left shoulder stays where it is. Your knees stay where they are. Your hips stay where they are. And you're kind of just twisting your upper back. And maybe today's the kind of day where your right shoulder touches the ground or your right hand touches the ground. Maybe it's not, doesn't matter. Whatever you've got, soften into it, breathe. Very nice. Now, inhale and bring everything to center. So you've got both arms coming to center, both legs coming to center. Exhale, hug your knees into your chest. Inhale here, and as you exhale, roll over onto your right side. Stretch both arms long. Find a comfortable way to put your head down. You can always pop a cushion under there if you need to. And see if you can stretch with your inhale your left arm longer so that those fingers creep further away from you than your right fingers. Next inhale, sweeping that left arm up toward the ceiling. And as you exhale, keeping your right arm, your knees where they are, see if you can open your left arm out to rest some bit of it on the ground to your left. So it might be your fingers, it might be your whole arm, even up to the shoulder, but it doesn't really matter. Don't force anything. Stay here and breathe. Very good. Relax your neck. If your tongue is pressing to the roof of your mouth, relax that. Very nice. Inhale, bring everything to center, knees to center, both arms, and exhale, give yourself one final hug. And now it is time for the more restorative part of our practice. I'm going to start in reclining bound angle pose. If you have a yoga bolster, now would be an excellent time to lay it lengthwise along your mat. You could pop another cushion or a block under the bit where your head will be so that you're at a bit of an angle, if you like. And if you are tight in your hips or you have issues in your pelvis and you would like some support for your knees, I suggest popping a cushion or a block under your knees as well. Lie back on that bolster, try and get a fairly smooth angle at your low back so you're not doing unfortunate things to it. Pop a blanket under your pelvis again if you need it, so get yourself really comfy, all the cushions off the couch if you need them, blankies, the whole lot. And settle yourself onto your support, your cushion, your bolster, whatever you've built for yourself. Knees up to the ceiling and feet touching now. And as you exhale, allow your knees to open out to the sides. You keep them bent and you touch the soles of your feet together. You can rest your arms on the ground next to you. Some of us need to bend our arms. Some of us need a bit of padding under our elbows. So again, you can fiddle with that. We'll be here for a while. And just lie here and let your chest muscles start to soften, stop gripping so much. Let your neck start to relax and your jaw. Again, feeling the back of your head supporting you. Noticing where your breath is moving in your body. If you need to fidget, if you need to adjust, you have permission. And then let your breath become super soft. Let yourself rest into the support. Very nice. If you're really enjoying it here, you are welcome to stay. Otherwise, we're going to move on to our last pose for the day. You'll need your bolster again, but a rolled up yoga mat works very well for this next one as well. So if you're using the bolster, just clear all the other accessories from your mat and slide your bolster a little higher on your mat so that when you lie back, your shoulder blades and your head and your neck are supported, but the rest of your body is free. So you've got it long ways along your spine and just the bolster, no other stuff. Although some people do need an extra cushion under their heads, I sometimes do when my neck's tight. So again, you can stay in the pose we just did, or you can come into this psoas release. We call it also a chest release. So your shoulder blades and your neck and your head are on your bolster, and it's lengthways, not widthways. So it's, the long side of the bolster and the long side of the mat are lined up. And you might need to start with your knees bent for this so that you don't feel too much strain in your back or in your chest or anywhere. And then allow your arms to be out to the sides and palms face up. We're trying to stretch our chest muscles to some extent now and the inner line of our arms. If it's okay there, if you're not feeling like something's going to snap, start to slide your legs straight so that you're lying with your legs straight and eventually allowing your ribs to soften towards the ground. Keep breathing. Good. Let your jaw relax. Very nice. So we need to lie here for a fair amount of time to allow that pattern of holding that we have in the front of our bodies to change. What we did at the beginning of this practice was a rhythmic release, the pulsing of the knees in and out, the lifting and lowering of our hips. And this is now passive, so we've kind of brought blood flow by moving dynamically. And all you're doing now is giving yourself the opportunity to learn a different way of holding your internal organs. Because we all spend so much time sitting and leaning over computers, a lot of us end up with a situation where our internal organs are quite crowded because we've kind of done that thing where we squish ourselves forward. And crowding is not going to be an optimal nurturing situation. I'm sure you will agree. So this lying and lengthening, and also just giving yourself the opportunity to be here, knowing that right now you have nothing else to do and nowhere else to be, just here. This is enough. You have permission to rest. Nurture yourself, give yourself that time. Lovely. So you can stay here for as long as you like. If you do want to come out, just rolling off your bolster or whatever you've got under your back. And I like to move it out of the way and then lie back down on the ground for a moment and just feel how my relationship with my spine and the floor has changed. Maybe give myself the opportunity to feel what it feels like not to be tense in the front and in my neck, so that perhaps I can learn the habit of not holding that tension all the time. Thank you. Namaste.